Hey guys, welcome to the Girl Take No podcast. I am your host, Shaunie Sanders, and today I have a very special guest with me. Okay, welcome to the show, Denise Kelly.
Hey.
Huh?
Thank you.
She is CEO of Bloom with Confidence. It is a coaching business which teaches you how to take actionable steps to increase your self-confidence so you can live your best life. And who doesn't want to live their best life?
Doesn't.
All of us do. I do
Yes.
too. Listen, I'm glad we're having this conversation. You know, I've interviewed a lot of people so far, and the confidence has always come up in the conversation, no matter what it is we're doing, trying to tell your story, trying to launch a business. Everything is all about confidence. And I'm glad we're having this conversation. So, but before we get into the conversation about confidence, give me the story behind the brand. Tell me why you decided to start Bloom with Confidence.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, Shaunie, you're absolutely right. Everything is about confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually is the underlying reason why I started Bloom with Confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I've had several different businesses over the years. But what I've found is that, especially for women in particular,
Mm-hmm.
we lack confidence to go that next step. And so what I found is, especially in the corporate world, we're always trying to go get that next thing. And so we go and try to educate ourselves again. We go and try to get another degree, try to go get another certificate, go try to do something else before we reach out for our goals.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, you know what? We don't need another anything. Not to be no knocking to learning education, because I'm a lifelong learner. But the reality of it is to take that next step towards your dreams. And your
I don't know
goals,
why it's doing that.
You don't need.
Go ahead.
This video needs some confidence.
Yeah, it does. Video needs confidence.
No, but realistically, we don't need another thing
Mm-hmm.
to step out towards our goals and our dreams. We actually just need confidence in our ability to make something happen.
Yeah.
And that's really ultimately what it is. It's like we need to be confident to make something happen. And so I started Bloom with Confidence. Originally, when I started it,
Mm-hmm.
I started it as a combination of a floral
Mm-hmm.
and confidence coaching combined,
Mm-hmm.
because I was a florist at the time. And so that's why I used the term bloom,
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to teach people how to bloom. How do you grow your confidence? How do you increase your level of confidence? And I was going to use floral design as a tool to help women do that. But I dropped the floral design for several different reasons that we'll probably get into a little bit later on in this conversation. But ultimately, I wanted to reach more people, reach more women,
Mm-hmm.
and just help them, like you say, live your best life. Try that next thing. Make that next step.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true especially in corporate America or just in life in general, you know what I mean? As women, we do sometimes lack confidence in our abilities to either get a promotion and our abilities to get that job, get that interview, or just even, I had a conversation with a woman who talked all about how to ask for raises, not even confident enough to even ask for a raise in your current role that you're in. So confidence surrounds everything that we do. And I like the word bloom because you're right. It's like, how do you grow into it? Because I do believe it's a growth process. And I think it starts when we're young,
Yeah.
I think a lot of our confidence come from when we're younger and what we see and what is said to us as children.
Absolutely. Because that's what happens, right?
Yeah.
If you think about, people actually go back to their childhood, right? And if you look at children, you see they're fearless, right?
Mm-hmm.
They do anything just because they're excited about doing it. They'll do whatever. They don't care.
Yeah.
And it's always an adult that will say, hey, stop doing this.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, don't do that. You're going to do this. Or don't go for that.
Yeah.
You're this way, so let's put you in this box. Don't do that thing. And so that happens to us
Mm-hmm.
as we get older.
Mm-hmm.
But even in our adult lives, how it happens to us is when we try to do something and someone doesn't give it to us.
Yeah.
Right? Or we try to go for that promotion and you get denied the promotion. So you're like, oh, what's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than saying, hey, what actionable things do I need to do in order to achieve that, and put the onus back on the other person who's denying you.
Yeah.
Because that's really what ultimately is, you will have to believe in yourself that you actually can make things happen. And if you have the confidence to know that you can make things happen,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter what you ask for, you can make it happen. You just need to know how to make it happen. And those are the key steps that I think. But yeah, we actually, kids are fearless.
They are.
Learn from kids.
Yeah.
Look at them. But yeah, it's, and even in relationships, like that to me.
That's big. Confidence is big.
Like that's big.
Yeah.
Confidence affects every single thing you do because you won't step out.
Yep.
You won't go out and date. You'll stay with somebody you know you're not supposed to be with because you're not confident.
Yeah.
Like, and you just, like all of those different things, because you don't have the confidence to be alone. Like, to understand that you can be happy alone. Like that types of stuff and building your own happiness. All of those things affect you. And it's, and it's one of those things that's a multiplying effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once it starts, like you get disappointed, then you don't feel like doing anything else, right? You're not confident enough to move to something else.
Yeah.
And then you get stuck. And now you're stuck again. And now you're stuck again. And now you're not motivated. Like all that stuff happens.
It
and
does.
So that, oh my gosh, it's so crazy.
It does. That's so true. It's like, if you get denied something, it really does affect your confidence. It makes you feel like, am I really supposed to be doing this? Because especially if you get multiple no's, you know what I mean? So it's like you're trying something and you're not getting the job, or the person is not buying into your business. And that really does hurts your confidence, and it hurts your confidence as an entrepreneur in the product or service that you're trying to sell, that you're not getting sales, or people are not buying into what you're trying to sell or trying to give them. And that does affect your confidence. It's like, what do you need in order to say, hey, like you said, I got to turn it back on the person. Maybe my service wasn't for this person, instead of it taken as a blow as to me and my business.
Yeah, I think you have to believe that you are able to figure it out. Like that is confidence. You are able to figure it out. I have the confidence in my ability to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't mean if somebody tells you no, you don't have it in the moment, but you have the confidence to figure it out. And so that's like, I think if we start from that underlying premise, that we believe that we are able to figure it out, you can do all these other different things. So if someone tells you no, and you get an immediate blow, yeah, you might take a step back, but there are ways that you can kind of remind yourself. It's almost like a mind trick, right?
Yeah.
You got to remind yourself that you're able to figure it out. And how you do that is reminding yourself of times when you figured it out before. Because that's the thing. Like we've accomplished many different things.
Yeah.
So you just make a list. Make a quick list of all the things you've done before. Because you might not have got this promotion, but you've gotten promoted before.
Yeah.
In your lifetime. And if you've never been promoted, usually that happens with younger people just starting out in roles. If you've never been promoted, again, it goes back to the premise. You have the ability to figure it out.
Yes.
And you believe in your ability to figure it out.
I like
so
that.
That's the underlying premise that I think that will help people build confidence. And there are some tips and tricks and tools that you can do.
Yeah, I like that though. Just knowing that the underlying premise is that you can figure it out, and start with that as your starting point to confidence, and saying, okay, although they said no, but I can figure it out. You know what I mean? I can figure out what next step I need to take to make sure I get the yes the next time from the next person.
Right.
Exactly. Let's talk about being a female entrepreneur. Is entrepreneurship something you always saw yourself doing, or you feel like, hey, I just kind of stumbled into entrepreneurship, being that you've had multiple businesses before too?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, because if you had asked me as a child, I probably would have never told you that, right?
Yeah.
But I would have never, I'm not going to be an entrepreneur. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go do engineering or go do this other thing. But I think that was a product of what I saw around me. Like my family, my grandfather was an entrepreneur, right? But because my grandfather died at a young age and no one in the family wanted to continue his business because, they didn't want all the stress and trials and tribulations that come with being an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
Like the business went to my uncle and he didn't want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So my vision of entrepreneurship at a young age was the troubles that come with entrepreneurship,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I didn't see that. But my mom was, she was a property owner. She was a landlord. Like, to me, that's like a function of entrepreneurship
Mm-hmm.
as well, just slightly different real estate model. And so I never really had, and she didn't have good experiences. So I didn't have a positive experience with entrepreneurship,
Mm-hmm.
but I always wanted to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Just being transparent.
Yeah, listen.
I like the bag, right?
We
all
do.
want a bag.
Everybody wants the bag.
But I started actually studying wealth building
Mm-hmm.
and wealth development. And I noticed that there are multiple ways you can make money.
Mm-hmm.
And the fastest way to generational wealth is through entrepreneurship, whether people believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
People, we always, there's percentages that people tell you about, businesses that don't succeed.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But the fastest way to create generational wealth, notice I said generational wealth, not just wealth. Because you can create wealth in a job.
Yeah.
Like, you can work a job for 40 years, save your money, invest it, forward, all that stuff, and then come out, few million on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
But a few million on the back end doesn't equate to generational wealth necessarily, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's just be real. When you're 65 years old and you got a $2 million, nest egg for retirement, what does that do for your grandchildren's grandchildren?
Yes, exactly.
Not a whole lot.
Not a lot.
Like, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, when you start to look at people who have generational wealth and how they built businesses, they had an idea, it sparked an idea, and it grew and grew and grew into multiple things. And so as entrepreneurs, and even this particular type of business that I have now as a coach, you can make a good amount of money from coaching, but successful coaches who help others succeed, because my dream is to create generational wealth for all of my clients, not just me.
Yes.
Like, I want my clients to succeed and live their best life, however they choose to function, whether entrepreneurship or something else. But that's my goal, is to make other people wealthy in addition to myself. And so that was my primary focus for entrepreneurship. It's just wealth building, understanding what type of legacy I could leave in the world. Because that's another thing too.
Yeah.
Like, entrepreneurship, you have to leave your mark
in
this society.
Yeah. And
you should think about what that looks like. And I think about that all the time for myself. How am I showing up for people? What imprint am I leaving? What type of impact I'm making? All of those things, I think, play a big part into, how you are as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
Listen, I think about generational wealth also even with building this podcast, thinking about, because like you said, everybody, we need to monetize, learn how to monetize learn how to build wealth from it, although it's something I enjoy doing. I love hearing other people's stories behind what made them do something, but also it's about monetizing and being able to further what you want to do and being able to help the next person who want to get into this particular business and showing them how to do it and taking them to the next steps as well. So building that generational wealth is so important as entrepreneurs, especially as African Americans, because it's not that first thing we talk about as kids. Like, my mother didn't sit down and have that conversation with me about wealth building and stuff like that, simply because nobody talked to her about it. My mother was a saver. She knew how to save. She knew how to make sure she had a nest egg and stuff like that, but didn't necessarily know how to translate it to her kids. All she knew was that work and save your money. You get $1, save 50%. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what. That's basically. What they tell you. Yeah, that's it. That's their conversation. They don't go any further than that. There's no stocks and bonds. It's mostly like, you got $1, you put 50% away, you take the other 50 and you pay your bills and do what you need to do.
And it works too.
Yeah.
But it doesn't create the type of wealth and the impact that you have the potential to create in a society.
Exactly.
Like, that's great for stability, but it also is very dependent.
It's very dependent on that job.
Person giving you that $1.
Yes.
Let's just be realistic. You don't have much control, and this is actually too another thing. It's like, the stability, the job stability that people think about is not real.
No.
Like, that's the other thing that I've always thought about as an employee when I work for people and as an entrepreneur. Like, at any moment, any of those two things can stop. Like, when you're employed, your employer can decide they don't want to have you be their employee anymore.
Yeah.
And you can also decide you don't want to be employed.
Exactly.
So the power dynamic is the same.
Mm-hmm.
But we give, as employees, you tend to give more power to the employer than you do to yourself.
Yeah.
And that to me is not a good dynamic that you should think about. Like, it's at any given moment, both of those things can change. Because it's the day they stop paying you, I bet you don't show up.
No. What am I going there for if they're not paying me?
No, we're not going to pay. And it's the same. It's actually a very similar thing in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Because that's how you manage your client relationships. Because you have to show up for your clients just as your clients have to show up and pay you. It's a very same dynamic. And so we feel it a bit more as entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But it's the same.
Yeah, it's so funny. It is the same. You have to show up for your clients. You have to, and like I said, what you said on how you show up in the world, when you pay attention to that too, as an entrepreneur, on how you show up, because how you show up is how people will perceive your business to be. So if you don't have confidence and you very much so if you can't relate to people what you're doing, then it shows them that you have a lack of confidence. You know what I mean? In your business, if you can't give them that elevator pitch that people want, or you can't get people to understand exactly what you're doing, it does come off as, okay, this person doesn't have confidence in what they're doing. And
right.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to do business with anybody that they don't like.
Yeah.
They don't trust. And that lack of confidence affects the trust factor more so than anything else.
Yeah.
Like, you really have to show up. Like, I always say, when you step fully in. And let people know that you are there for them and how you can serve them.
Yeah. That's really good. Confidence, I think about it as a journey. You know what I mean? I don't think it's ever like a destination you reach. I think it's something you consistently will have to work on no matter what.
Absolutely.
And some people can walk around like, oh, I'm confident. I'm 100% confident. I'm like, it's a journey. It's not a destination. It's a journey. I mean, you have to build it, because like you said, in life, you will be hit with so many different blows, that will really put you in a place of doubt, and how do you tell your clients, if they're in that space of like a doubt, where they've had a setback in their business and they're in a place of doubt, how do you help them regain that confidence, or get back on that journey of confidence, to let them know, like, hey, you can still push through this?
Yeah. So first thing I ask them to do is to assess the situation. So understand where you are. I usually have them write down exactly what happened in their own words, and we'll take out anything that's subjective discussion.
Yeah.
So we keep everything that's matter of fact, and because that helps you with not putting your own negative story on the events that occurred, right? We just want to say what happened. And then we look at, what actionable things could you have done differently throughout the process for whatever the event was that caused you to lose confidence. Not saying that there's any fault whatsoever, because I think that's the key. Like, we tend to blame ourselves, which is what knocks our confidence. And so it's not your fault necessarily, but you do have to own up to the fact that there are things that you could have done differently. You could have made different decisions, and that creates a learning experience for you. And it also ties back into what I said earlier about your ability to figure it out, because that's how you figure it out. You figure it out through learning and through the process. And so you can get back to a confident point of moving forward by assessing the situation, understanding what you could have done differently, and then also reminding yourself of how you have achieved or what has happened in the past. I think the most difficult piece for losing your confidence typically comes in relationships, or it comes with our health.
Oh yeah.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
And that's one that most people don't really want to talk about, is, the fact that, there are some serious things that can happen to you physically and emotionally that weren't their fault. But we do have an opportunity to take better care of ourselves, right? Like, that's real talk. There's science behind actionable steps that you can take to take better care of yourself. But it helps you recognize in the moment better decision-making process along the journey. And there are ebbs and flows to confidence. Confidence is not a journey. Like you said, I 100% agree. It's not a journey. Some days you wake up super confident in all areas of your life. Other days you wake up and be like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing today. This is crazy. I mean, that happens. I wake up and I'm a confidence coach. And I will tell you, but I have a system.
Yes.
You know, because honestly, like, I would be 100% real with your audience today. So, this weekend, I woke up like, oh my gosh, what in the world am I doing with my parenting? Like, I'm this child. Who is this child I'm raising? And she stepped by. But, you know, I had to take a step back. I was like, wait a minute. She's fed every day.
Yes.
She's an honor roll student.
Mm-hmm.
Even if she wasn't an honor roll student, because her grades are not a reflection of me.
Yes.
And I realized. But I have imparted some rules. Like, you might not, you know, so like these are things. I was like, okay, well, she done ate every day.
Mm-hmm.
She gets clothes. She get fed. She get to school on time. You know, we go on vacations. It's cool.
Yes.
I'm not a bad parent.
Yes.
Like, I had to make a list for myself. She might be doing some things in the moment, but it's true.
Yeah.
You have to raise yourself up. That's how you build your confidence.
Yeah.
And so, you know, from that point, I'm like, okay, I can present myself as a confident parent.
Yeah.
Right? One of the other things that I think that steals our confidence is comparison.
Oh my God.
I know, Lord Jesus.
That is a big one. Please speak on that, because that is probably the number one thing. And I've talked about this so many times with other guests about comparison on social media. What people are seeing on social media, thinking that their life have to be this way. Thinking, or as entrepreneurs, looking at someone else have a similar business and how they're gaining all these sales, got all these I don't know, followers and all this stuff going on. And then you're like, why don't I have it? And that knocks your confidence. So please just speak on comparison.
Oh my gosh, comparison.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Comparison is the thief of joy, but it is the thief of everything in your life. Comparison will steal your money. It will steal your relationships.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Everything.
You have to really stop comparing yourself, because what comparing yourself does to your confidence is, one, when I say confidence is your ability in yourself to figure it out, you immediately think that you have to do it the way somebody else did it.
Yeah.
When you start to compare yourself to other people. And you don't. Like, the reality is, figuring it out is figuring it out for you.
Yeah.
When you start, like, I could compare myself to other parents. I could compare myself to other coaches. I could do whatever. You know, we look at social media, like you said, oh my God, it's horrible, right?
Horrible.
But the reality of it is, nobody is living your life but you.
Yeah.
And so you cannot compare your life to somebody else's life. They're living their own life, their own path, their own journey. The person that you see might not even have your same goals.
Exactly.
That's the thing that I think people don't realize. You can, like, I can look at other coaches. They have a totally different landscape, right? But I can say, oh, this coach has X number of followers. Oh, this coach is making millions. You know, why am I not making millions? That person might not even want to be a coach.
Yeah.
That's the truth of the matter.
That
like,
is
you
true.
Really don't even know, and they don't have enough confidence in themselves to step out and stop coaching.
Oh yeah.
But that's the reality. We see, like, I used to work with somebody who used to say, people always love the shiny front end. They don't like the dull, gritty back end. Yeah. Because no one really understands what's really ever going on with a person when you're just looking at them from the outside. And so always look within yourself and stop that comparison. You don't need to even be like anybody else. The best version of you is all you can do.
That's seriously, because like you said, social media people only give you like a little snapshot of their life. It's never the full thing. You don't see. It's so funny how I was looking at this one girl. She's a content creator. She suffers from depression and lack of confidence and stuff like that. And she told them the other day, like, hey, you guys see me on here. You guys see me with all these followers and all these people in my lives. When she's like, but let me show you what the real is. She got out her car and she said, right now my car's broke down. I can't even get it to move. She said, I don't have no money to get it fixed. So I got to sit here and wait and see who I can get to come get me. And she said, but the good thing is that today was my last day at work. So you know what I mean, for the week where I don't have to worry about getting work tomorrow. She said, but people, y'all don't see this part. Y'all just see me on lives and on, Instagram thinking that, oh, everything looks so great. She said, no, everything is not great. I can barely make my bills. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's so true in that comment, like you cannot compare yourself to other people or look at what other people have or doing because you don't know their full story.
Yeah, and there's so much in that. Like, you know, for people who, I always tell people like this: if you're looking at somebody else's stuff on social media in particular, if you're looking at somebody else's stuff on social media, think about your own presence on social media and what you actually share, and then think about what you don't share.
Yeah. Yes.
And
exactly.
For everything that you don't share, I guarantee you, they're not sharing it either. They're not sharing any of their. Like, people put all their positive stuff up there, but very few people put the negativity that happens in their life or the instances that happen in their life. I mean, I don't care how authentic they are on their social media; it does not matter. People are not 100% sharing everything that happens in their life.
No,
nobody does that.
Nobody does it.
Of what they do.
Nobody does it willingly, doubt. You know what I mean?
Well, there is some of that too, because
a lot of stuff is getting leaked everywhere. Okay, you got the streets be talking, somebody see you, catch you. So it's definitely like that. Let me ask you this question, because you said something in the beginning regarding women. Why do we suffer from lack of confidence more so than men? You know, because let me tell you this. I was attending this fireside chat with a company I used to work for, and the woman said that most women, when we're looking for jobs, right, we will not, if we read a job description and we see 2 or 3 things that we cannot do, we will not apply for it. But a man will see just 2 or 3 he can do out of maybe a list of 10 and be like, and have a confidence like, oh yeah, I can get this job. But we feel like we couldn't. And that's the lack of our confidence. And so why do we as women, you think, do that versus men?
So again, I think it because, you know, it's hard to say like it's, you know, one thing. I think there are multiple layers of things that impact women. Yeah. One in particular is that a lot of times we're entering male dominated fields because for, you know, historically we were not in the workforce, and then we ended up getting into the workforce.
That is true.
And so a lot of fields are male dominated fields that we are not in. And there's you know, I love men, but there's always a man somewhere to tell you what you should do and how you should do it.
Oh my God. So yes, it is.
You know, so that happens, which, you know, one, if you believe the person talking to you, because see, that's the other thing. You gotta believe the person telling you that you don't know enough. And we gotta stop believing people who don't know stuff. So that's one thing, because people will tell you things and you tend to accept that what people say is rational and true, right?
Yeah,
so
that's true.
That we take it upon ourselves that way. And women in general are a bit more, what's the word to say? Like we check the boxes, right? Like that's what we do. We check boxes, we organize things, we, you know, even as like moms, you know, you check the boxes. That's what we do. This has to be done, this has to be done, this has to be done. Men don't do that. They don't even do that in their everyday lives.
They don't.
They're just out there like, ooh, I'm just going to show up, right?
They're just winging it.
So they wing it. And they're okay with winging it. And I think we as women have to do a whole lot more winging it. Not that you don't know, because I think we all can figure stuff out. Like, that's part of the thing. Yeah. It's like, if you come with the fact that it doesn't matter what situation I get thrown into, I'm smart enough, I'm intelligent enough, I'm capable enough to figure out how to do it if I don't already know how to do it. And so I think that's something that we actually need to like jump out there and do. Because I know, like, I've looked at things, oh, you know, they want da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. I think that's why you start to see like a different dynamic between people say, you know, minimum qualifications versus preferred qualifications. Yeah. Right? Because they want women to just look at minimum and put their hat in the ring. Yes. Regardless of what the preferred things. We tend to look at both minimum and preferred and count ourselves out. But I have this saying is, stop telling yourself no. Let other people tell you no if the answer is no. You don't need to tell yourself no. Oh my God. You've told no so many times in your lifetime. Yeah. Stop telling yourself no And as women, we do that. Like, we sit around and think, oh, I want this. And then immediately we go, but this, but that, but I don't this, but I don't that. No, you want this, go for it.
Yes.
Just step out there. And, you know, confidence, again, it's like I said, is multiplicative. Once you do something once, you're more comfortable doing it a second time. And you're more comfortable doing it again after that. And then after a while, it's like nothing.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's like walking.
Yeah.
You walked. The first time you walked, you didn't really want to step. Like, it's a baby, right?
Yeah. It was a confidence.
If you were a public speaker, the first time you got up in front of the audience, you probably was shaking, right? But the next time you did it, same size audience, it's like, you know, you're a little bit more comfortable. Next time you're a little bit more comfortable, until you jump out there and you're the best speaker in the world. Like,
exactly.
That's how you build your confidence, by you know, repetitive doing, reminding yourself that you can figure it out.
I like that. Let me ask you this question too, because I was thinking about this. Can you be confident? Let's say you could be confident in your job skills and your work and where you are in your company versus lack confidence in your relationship or in your business, or if you're confident in one, you can be confident in all. You're confident in all.
No, you definitely are not confident in all things all the time. Like, that is not true. And you absolutely, because here's the thing: what happens? Like, you can be exercising your muscle in one area of your life and not exercising it in another. Like, so, you know, for relationships in particular, versus workplace, like you could be extremely financially confident on how you manage your finances, how you put yourself out there, the risk you take as an entrepreneur. I work with a client who actually has that, but has very little confidence when it comes to romantic relationships. You know, and a lot of it is based on the choices that have been made over the years, right? Like, how are you exercising, in particular with relationships, how are you exercising your choice to love and your choice to be loved? Like, and that's a real thing that people don't really understand.
It is
that you can choose to be loved, and how you actually show up and respond and the types of things that you do contribute to your ability to be loved and how people love you. Like, it's all on you. Nothing is true out there. Like, we think that everything's just up to the dice and you roll the dice, especially when it comes to romantic relationships. And that's not real. Like, people show you who they are. You show people who you are. And people choose in or they choose out. It's very simple. But we overcomplicate it. And so a lot of times, like, when someone doesn't choose you, you want them to choose you, right? Like, that becomes a hit to our confidence. Like, we somehow immediately think something is wrong with us, and there's nothing wrong with you necessarily. I will put a caveat there. There's nothing wrong with you necessarily, right? Not necessarily, unless you have some,
allegedly,
there's nothing wrong with you. But all things being normal. Things being normal.
Exactly.
The person could just want something different in their life. And that is not a reflection of you as a person. And that should not reflect your confidence that somehow something is wrong with you. You need to change. You need to do whatever. It is just a simple matter of fact that person wants something different at this point in their life. And so we have to accept that piece. Like, to me, I think acceptance of a lot of things will keep people a bit more confident in relationships. Because relationships, you know, people want a whole lot of different things for different reasons. It's just like for women in particular, with relationships, if you're out, you know, a man doesn't want you or whatever, he wants to break up with you for whatever reason, or you want something from him that he hasn't told you that he's wanted. But you continue in the relationship anyway. You know, prime example, we know people want commitments that sometimes people don't tell you they're going to commit to you, and they tell you up front. But you still do a lot of things to try to manipulate or coerce. All these different things that happen. Rather than just saying, I'm confident in who I am as a person. I'm confident in the fact that I want a commitment in my life, and I'm confident that I will find somebody who wants the same thing.
Yeah. I think a lot of women lack that piece right there that you just said. That's 100% true. Confident in, because when I listen to a lot of women, single women, and they're talking about how the dating pool is, they like that confidence in knowing that no matter if this situationship you had didn't work out, relationship didn't work out, that I'm confident enough to know that I will meet someone that it will work out with. And it's such a simple thing, but yet it's so hard to get people to believe. What do you think are some of the hardest things, with your clients what are some of the blockers that they face in order to overcome their lack of confidence? Is there like a pattern that you're seeing with your clients that's saying, hey, it's the no for them and they can't get past that? Like, what is some patterns that you're seeing in your clients that it's hard for them to build their confidence?
Yeah, so, it is the no sometimes. It's, having no more than once. Yeah. I think what happens is that people feel like because they've tried something one time and it didn't work out, rather than assessing what actually did they do that they were trying that made, because that's a real thing. Like people say, oh, I tried relationships and they didn't work out, or I tried dating and it didn't work out. Well, what did you try? Yeah. And how many times did you try it? Yeah. Because the reality of it is, it's not a one and done type thing. Like, there are very few people that had long-term life partnerships with the first person they ever went on a date with. That's true. Yeah, a lot of people are like that. Right? Who has done that? And I'm being realistic. I'm not married to my elementary school student. No. Right? No. And even if we want to talk about adulthood, I'm not married to that person either that I dated for the first time as an adult. No. And so because that didn't work out, should I have been like, oh, I'm not going to date again? Or, relationships aren't good. No, you just don't. Things have to continue to go. And that's, I think, even in entrepreneurship. We all have an idea and you'll try it, but you tried it for 30 days. Yes. Businesses are not built on 30 days. Yes. You might have tried one thing in your business, it made no sales. Well, what else are you going to try? Yeah. Because you have to keep going. And that's what I'm talking about in believing that you are able to figure it out and having enough, having enough faith in yourself that you can do something different. Yeah. And it's okay. So, try something else. Keep it going. But that's what happens is people will do one thing, it doesn't work out, and so they don't want to do anything else. Not realizing that the odds are pretty much against you anyway, doing it one time. Regardless. So true. People will try something one time and feel like, oh, I saw, because why? It's that comparison. I saw this person do it, and in 30 days they had X amount of dollars, but now I'm doing it, and it's not happening. You know what I mean? And so now either I'm just not going to do it anymore. I'm just going to give up on it because I don't have confidence in it. But you know what's so funny about that, Shaunie? Because I'll tell you, because this happens all the time. When people look at other people and you say, oh, this person did this, and in 30 days they had X, Y, Z. But did that person tell you all the other 35,000 things they did? Exactly. Because I guarantee you, if you ask them, they got a bunch. But they don't show you that. They don't show you that. Exactly. They only going to show you the one thing that did work, and then they probably going to try to sell you on it. It's so crazy because it's almost like how music artists are like 1 minute we'll see somebody blow up and we're like, man, they had some overnight sensation. They're like, nah, I've been doing this for 15 years. It's just because nobody knew. Oh, that's exactly what happens. And you hear that in all the entrepreneurship stories too. It's like, hey, I didn't just jump into the success. This has actually took me a few years to get here. Yes. To have this type of success, to understand my market, to understand the business, to learn how to pitch, to have confidence in knowing that just because I had that setback last year doesn't mean that I shouldn't continue the business. And even the people that get discovered, like you said, you're like, oh, I discovered them singing and this and that, and then all of a sudden they became, this actor superstar. Well, how many other times were they singing in places that they did get discovered? Tons of places. Because I right now, if I go somewhere and start singing, you know, but
it's gonna take some work.
It would take some work, but I can build confidence and get some vocal coaching. I can do some auto tunes, and I can do all that other stuff, and probably go get signed. But that's not my lane, so confidence.
You know, and you mentioned something before about steps and things you can do. What are some steps you can share with my audience that they can do to help building confidence? Maybe like on a daily basis, little things they can do.
Yeah, so I encourage all of my clients to journal. And when people hear the word journal, they tend to back up because a lot of people think you have to write books.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, I got to write my whole life out today.
You write one word, you write one sentence. But journal like what happens to you throughout the day. Mm-hmm. Right? Like that especially for instances where you feel like you're less confident or you're fearful of taking risk, that you want to do something, you would tell yourself no. Any type of negative thing that comes up in your brain or that stops you from taking action, I encourage people to write it down. Record, voice recording is journaling as well. Mm-hmm. And then I also encourage people to keep what they call a brag book. I don't know if you've ever done anything like that, but especially if you're working in the corporate world, definitely keep a brag book of all of your day-to-day achievements that you've accomplished for that day or things that you've done. And it can get extensive and long, especially because you do a lot of things throughout the day. Like people,
it's true.
Multiple different things. And even for someone who's suffering with a severe lack of confidence, I tell them to start with small things. Mm-hmm. If you cook dinner today, write it down. If you ordered out, write it down.
Yeah.
Like, those are things that you have done and you accomplished, because it may seem insignificant, but you have the ability to feed your family.
Mm-hmm.
That's a win.
That's
a win. So start small. Record achievements, be cognizant to be more aware of what things impact your confidence level, so that you know how to counteract it and you know how to recover from it quickly. So if you're like, let's say you have a horrible job, or your boss is horrible, right? Because sometimes managers suck, right? We know that. You have a manager that sucks, but you don't have the ability to leave your job because being able to feed yourself and your family is real and in the moment. But you don't have to internalize the negativity coming from your job as, impacting who you are as a person. And so it could be, your boss saying something, you're like, you turn something in and they say, oh, you're never good at this. I don't know why I asked you anyway. You can come back and be like, not out loud, because don't get yourself fired necessarily, but you can come back and say, hey, I'm confident that I'm able to figure out anything. I'm confident in my intelligence level. I'm smart. You can come back with those things for yourself. In your mind, repeat those things to yourself. I also encourage people to use affirmations. And not just like random affirmations, but intentional affirmations that are tied to their purpose and what they want to do, and to repeat them out loud to themselves in a mirror.
I like that.
That is helpful, because the one thing that people don't realize and understand, you can't think away anything. Like, you don't just think away your thoughts. You have to speak life into your thoughts. And you have to speak life. And so, like, if you've ever read anything, if you're a person of faith, and you will notice it talks about speaking your goals, speaking or writing and speaking your vision. Like, no one ever says, think your vision away. Like, think yourself to your vision. It doesn't work.
Nobody says that.
No, it never says that. And so those are the types of things that I encourage my clients to do kind of on a daily basis. And it's a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. It requires consistency. And so you have to psych yourself out with those little tools and tricks that I think help out throughout the day.
I like that, because what it sounds like is this confidence building is in the details, you know what I mean, in your life, and celebrating those little wins and writing it down. I gotta take note of that myself, to start writing things down, because you can get busy throughout your day and you deal with so much, like you said, that you can just, at the end of the day, you can feel like, I didn't get nothing done. You know what I mean? And I just didn't, like, you have a goal you set for the day and you didn't do it. And then it's like, that knocks your confidence. I mean, everything, I feel like really hits your, I mean, everything, Denise, everything hits your confidence. If I say I'm gonna work out and I don't,
and you don't,
I feel so shitty. I feel so bad about myself, and I'm like, why didn't I do it? And then that's a knock in my confidence. You know what I mean? And what I look like.
So I'll tell you something to do to yourself, to create wins. I'll tell the audience, create wins for yourself, because that helps you in the process. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by create wins, like if you already know that working out is a challenge for you, mm-hmm. don't set the goal to work out today.
Yeah.
Set the goal something very minor that you absolutely. No, I'm very serious.
Right.
And this might sound like really crazy to do, but set a small win for yourself, because your winning is a paramount to you going to the next level. Because it builds confidence in your ability to get it done. And then you'll say, okay, well, I know I can do this. Let me do this thing, which is a little bit more challenging. And then you'll get to something that's a little bit more challenging. It's just like, okay, I want to work out. So guess what? The win is me putting my workout clothes on. Mm-hmm. And if I put my workout clothes on, your mind will trick you. Because believe it or not, if you put your workout clothes on 2 days in a row, you're more likely to work out on the third day.
Yeah, that's
true. If you just say, "Hey, I'm going to work out today," I kid you not, it's a hilarious thing that how the brain works, but it's science that it works. And so it might even be so minor as I'm just going to put my tennis shoes up here.
I'm gonna look at them every morning.
Look, start where you're at. Create your own wins and build yourself up. You have to do it.
Yeah, you're right. I like that. You're right. I'm gonna just do that because I'm like, and I'm not gonna beat myself up about it. You know what I mean? Like you said, if I change my mindset, then I won't feel bad about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I like that. Before we go, I want to ask you. There's two more questions I want to ask you. This one I want to ask you is, what does confidence mean?
Oh my gosh, confidence means that you're just taking. One, you believe in yourself and your ability to get things done. And because of that belief, you take action.
Yeah, I like that. It's belief. So it goes back to your belief system. Mm-hmm. That's what it goes to. Yeah,
and
I like that.
It's belief in yourself. It really is belief in yourself.
Which is one of the hardest things. I mean, yeah, we can. Which is one of the, we can have a whole show on just belief in yourself. You know what I mean? Because that's like one of the hardest things for people to do, is to believe in themselves, which is why a lot of people don't fulfill their dreams and their goals in life, because we have that lack of confidence because we don't believe in ourselves. So this is a conversation I believe that can go on and on. There's so many layers to it, like you said, that it can be a weak show of confidence building because it's something that's so, confidence is just like I said, surrounded in everything that we do. Every interview I've had, I've talked about confidence. And which is why I'm glad we had this show, because now this show is completely dedicated to building confidence as an entrepreneur and just as a person overall. No matter what you do, it's building confidence is what you need in order to get yourself to the next level and live the life you want to live. Live your best life, like you said, Denise.
Yes.
All right. All right. So before we end the show, it's a question I ask all my guests that come on. What is some of the best advice you received from another woman?
Ooh. So I know this is kind of funny because believe it or not, I have not had a lot of advice from a whole lot of women in my lifetime. No, I have not. If I was to sit around and think about like advice that I actually,
like your mom and stuff like that, and
like my mom.
I know your mom gives good advice. I know.
Yes, she do. My mother gives lots of advice. Some good, some not so good. But I will tell you this. I do have to give this to my mom. Mm-hmm. I was going to say somebody else, but I'm going to give this to my mom because I think the best advice she ever gave me was when I was in high school. Mm-hmm. And my mother negotiated a scholarship for me for college. A full scholarship, mind you.
Okay.
Right. In a hallway, no doubt. Okay, the president of the university. And so
look at Denise, she was that kid. Okay, Denise.
Yeah. No, but my mother.
Okay.
Like literally my mother having a conversation, like having enough confidence to pull a university president to the side and explain to him why he needed to give her child a full scholarship.
So it was the university president. This wasn't no application process.
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
And literally, she pulled him to the side in a hallway at a luncheon. It was a luncheon, and
okay,
he stepped out of the luncheon. She stopped him and was like, "You need to give my child a full scholarship for your school."
And here's the reasons why.
But I talked to her about it at the time because I was young and I was like, "Why do you do that? I don't want to go to that school, whatever."
Yeah.
But she was like, first thing you need to do when you understand and you communicate with people is you need to know what it is they want and what their goals are. And if you can bridge how to get them what they want, like if you can understand that and you can bridge the gap and solve that problem for them, you're likely able to get them to do whatever you want them to do. It's the law of, I know it's a reciprocal law, actually. Yeah. And I actually learned about it later on in life, in high school as I was studying, not in high school, in college, and then as I was studying coaching process and philosophies. There's like this law of reciprocity. Basically what it is. When you do things for people naturally feel like they not necessarily obligated, but they feel in a particular way that they should extend the same courtesy to you. And so that's kind of that policy. And so she found out what it is that he wanted. And he wanted his goal was to have more National Merit Scholars at his university than Harvard University had. And I came as a National Merit Scholar. And so she was like, if you want your numbers, here's +1. But this is how you're going to get her there because these other people are going to give her money. And that's how she positioned it. And I've learned also throughout my life that that's actually quite true. Especially in networking circumstances, how I get clients, I found out what their pain points are, what it is they want, why are they suffering, how are they suffering, how can I help them solve that problem for them.
That is good advice. That's good advice overall for entrepreneur on how do you bridge that gap between what maybe an investor or your clients or your customers want versus what you can give them. You know what I mean? How do you bring it in between? I like that. That was really good, Denise. That was really good. I like it. Listen, this has been an amazing interview. I really hope that when people watch, or people watching and listening really get something out of it, which I know they will, because like I said, confidence is everything we do in life. You know what I mean? Like I said, confidence as a parent to know just because them grades not the best, it's not on me. Now, unless I did that homework, then that's different. But
let's not do our kids' homework.
It's so crazy.
Confident children.
We're gonna end the show, but it was so crazy that during COVID, how we had to help the kids with their homework, and I had to do 3rd grade math. And now that took a blow.
It's a different.
Listen, that took a blow to my confidence. It really did. In just basic math, 1 + 1 is 2, and you know what I'm saying, all that stuff. I'm like, that really took a blow to my confidence. So I big ups to teachers. You guys are absolutely amazing. I don't know how y'all do it, but I commend them. But hey guys, listen, I am Shaunie Sanders. This is the Girl Take No podcast, and we thank you so much for watching and listening, and I will see you next time.